and we want the fans out of their seat. We want to score goals. We want to give them, momentum on our side, and then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, is it we got to be dull.
Hey there, welcome to the Afterburn Soccer Show. We're live here. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Nathan Hill at Afterburn Soccer on X, and of course at afterburn.soccer on Substack. And with me right now is our good buddy Jose at El Chico Carmona.
What's up, everybody?
Chris won't be joining us tonight on a shopping spree. With a loved one, but Collin should jump on here in a bit, but of course he's at work, so he may be getting slammed with all those Xbox games to sell. But so we're gonna get this show started. A busy weekend for FC Dallas. Of course, we'll take your comments, your questions live. I'm gonna try to pull up the link if I can find it here over on YouTube and share it again on X for everybody to see and to find it. But we're grateful for however you watch the show, listen to the show, whether it's live or the day after or later in the week. We appreciate your support. But let's get right into it. We got FC Dallas. We got North Texas to talk about. But, of course, let's start with FC Dallas. Let's start a home game against Los Angeles FC. Son Heung-min was his first appearance in Frisco in front of a raucous crowd, a good crowd. Two good teams. Well, Los Angeles is definitely a good team. FC Dallas, I think we're working things out. But it was a good 90 minutes of intense gameplay. Son Heung-min, of course, scores his first Major League Soccer goal, an unsavable free kick. Michael Collodi could only wave at it. Not many keepers could save that shot. But then Logan Farrington found an equalizer to draw things up at 1-1. Really nice goal from Logan Farrington. Just love that he is in form right now. And then the teams played to a draw. And yes, FC Dallas can have both feels about this one, I think, Jose, right? Like one of we'll take the point at home against a team that's probably more talented than us. I say probably, but is more talented than FC Dallas. See, and really controlled the second half. LAFC looked stronger over the course of the second half, and so you're happy with the draw, perhaps rather than dropping points completely at home. But still, also a little sad to not get 3 points in a crucial match that will have a lot to say about playoff positioning for this team. So let's just do reactions. Jose, what were your reactions to this performance from FC Dallas?
Well, very mixed feelings. As you know, I'm one of the people that predicted a 2-1 victory, and I was hoping for that. But frankly, once you saw the starting lineup and you saw that Musa was out and Irogide was out and Shaq Moore was starting as a third center back and Kamunga was starting as a flat-out left back, not a left wing back. I mean, and then you go down 1-0 early to that set piece. It's hard to be upset about getting a draw out of that. Let's face it. I mean, I know some people are saying, it's home, you should have the 3 points. I dare anybody to tell me with a straight face that they expected 3 points after that lineup was rolled out, because frankly, on social media, everybody was saying we're about to get rolled. We're about to get destroyed by these guys after everyone saw the lineup. And I wasn't one of those people, but my confidence had definitely plummeted when I saw that lineup and draw after going down 1-0. I hate to say it, but it's a good result against a team that really should have, uh, you know, run circles around us. And Collodi basically, you know, had a monster game for us. And him, not just him, the back line, really, Abubakar. I mean, look at that back line. Completely outperformed, even though they were outmatched at home. As a fan, I think seeing the team battle at home, and honestly, this is a game where they really had to play like dogs against a team that should have just come in and stomped them. I can't be mad about that result. I'm pretty happy with it.
That's good.
what I'm
That's
getting
good. And I realized I posted the wrong. All right. Trying to get the link here. All right. Collin, welcome to the show. Sorry about that. I'm having a lot of things going on here. All right. Good. Having a little technical difficulty, but everything will work out. Good. Collin, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking a little break there from work. We just started with reactions. I mean, and we talked about sort of, a home draw against a good team is not necessarily a bad thing. But, how are you
Usually it
feeling
is.
about this result?
I'll be honest, man. If you looking at that lineup, if you told me we're getting a 1-1 draw and we're going home with a point, like we're staying home with a point, I would have taken it from the whistle. Like I would have taken it before the game. I was not confident in this lineup because looking at the lineup graphic, we saw it was a back four with no Irigide and with Kamungo as a left back. Immediately, I was thinking to myself, like looking at everybody else at the tailgate, like, hey, like I don't think this is going to be a four back. Like, there's no way we're putting Kamungo, which he has the work rate and the effort, which love him to death. We talked about it last week, like in Austin. Like, if he's doing a one-on-one matchup marking someone, perfect. But I didn't expect them to do that with Nathan Ordaz, and they didn't. They ended up having him focus more on Tillman when he would come to that side. So it was one of those things where I immediately looked at it and I was like, well, Ramiro could play right wing back, and they've played Shaq at center back before. I believe in the Miami game they went to that 5-back with Julio and I believe Shaq was on the field or off the field for that, but they did a 5-back where Ramiro or Shaq, one of the two, played a center back, and they had someone at the wing back role. So I'm like, maybe Quill does it again, and that's what they ended up doing. Had Shaq at that center back and Ramiro as double coverage for Bruanga because they love to pressure that left side heavy on Bruanga and then do an underlap and an overlap run with either the midfield and the left back or the midfield and the striker, which someone would come in deep to get the ball. And when he would come in deep to get the ball, they would expose that right side. But Kappas covered well with Ramiro and Shaq, and Shaq did pretty dang well for being mostly a center back for most of that game. I really have no complaints about that back line. Like Jose said, the back line honestly overperformed, probably one of the best defensive
Yes.
games we've had in a while. And I made one singular tweet after the game for the performance, and it was Michael Collodi, welcome to the starting 11. Because no offense, if he's going to play like that, I haven't seen Paes play like that since last year when we were raving about him, and he was playing for the Indonesian national team and kind of on that really good run of form last year. I haven't seen that Paes in a long time, and Collodi brought back some good old Raul Fernandez style highlights from back in the day, being super short but still able to make, like for goalkeeper standards, but being able to make those saves. And the distribution in the first half was a little shaky, but even in the second half, I think the distribution was good and better than what Paes brings. I'm very confident moving forward with Claudia as our backup, and hopefully, if Paes decides to go back over to Europe, I mean, he's kind of gotten acclimated to Dallas and everything, but if he decides to move back to Europe and we can get a decent transfer fee for him, I mean, I'd be happy with that. And I want to clarify from last week, I forgot Paes has a green card, so he's not in an actual roster spot anymore. But it would still free up a lot of cap, and it would still free up like another roster spot for us to either bring in another academy goalkeeper or for us to bring up like another decent backup that's young in MLS that we could get. The attack, Logan Farrington. I get the fascination with him playing on the wing as not necessarily an up and up striker, but look at his finishing. I mean, we got a little touch from our boy Coast on that goal, but if you look at where it was going, Lloris isn't saving it on that trajectory. You look at where Lloris was diving with the speed of the ball and everything, even with the deflection. If anything, the deflection slows it down. You look at the speed of the ball with where Lloris's hands was at, with the angle that we get right behind the goal, he's not saving it. Logan's finishing deserves to have him in the middle, but it's his ball progression. Julio has pace, but not great dribbling or technical ability to get around people. Kamungo, same thing, has good pace, but doesn't have a right foot to distribute if he cuts in. So it's one of those things where Logan has to play the wing because he's the only one that can distribute or take the ball from a deeper-ish position and go up. Because we took Shaq Moore to center back, the right wing back, and Ramiro, he was cutting into the midfield like Shaq normally does, or doing an overlap on the right side. So it's one of those things where I don't like Logan playing on the wing, but I also get why he does. So once we get Musa fully healthy and we can afford to have Farrington on the wing, or Farrington to play in the middle and let Musa be like the connector that we're playing through, not to him, but through him, then I think this team gets a lot better. And if we can play like this on the road or at home, if we can pick up some steam to get in the playoffs, I might be a little overconfident to say this, but I think we could go on a run. And the reason I say that is we've done well on the road relatively all season. Because the one game in San Diego, we got absolutely thrashed. I can't think of an away game where I look back and I'm like, man, we got absolutely dominated and ran out of this game. And part of the reason we played so well against LA, I think, is also the road dog mentality. The South Korean crowd, man, was amazing. I mean, it was cool to see. Not great in the supporter section, because half the lower bowl was the South Koreans too and everything, and they would cover up jerseys and all that. But like, the South Koreans, like when Son scored, the stadium went crazy. When Farrington scored, the same people cheering for Son cheered for us. Like, it was very much a fun experience, but it was also a good fire up for them to feel like it was a road game and get a little bit of gas in the tank for them. But overall, like Jose said, and like I said at the beginning, like, you give me a draw at the beginning of that game, look at that lineup, and I'm taking it all day long.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, the team hasn't been playing well at home, so you're looking for signs of improvement, however you can get it. And so, yeah, to grab a point where maybe in some of these past games against a good team, you've gotten nothing. You take that. You take that as a step. And especially, I both you and Jose have made this point about a heavily rotated lineup. Guys being asked to play new positions, guys needing rest, guys mending, trying to get off the injury reports. It wasn't your best 11 out there for FC Dallas. So, yeah, to grab a point to hold off LAFC, who really bossed the game, I think, in the second half. They just had a ton of opportunities. But what a pleasant surprise to see a defense too that was able to not get broken down so much, and I think we've seen too much of that disappointment at times.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on the whole Collodi thing, and I had tried to bring this up in chat, and people just kind of waved it off and said, hey, Collodi is performing. Yeah, he's shown he could perform at an MLS level, and really has looked like he belongs. We've with this management, are they going to go out and sell Paes? Because the way this team is set up, they've always been consistent with if you got the guy behind the starter and he's younger and more affordable, and they prove that they can play the position without drop off, which is what we're seeing from Collodi. Does that make Paes expendable? Or do we go back to, if we keep Paes, does it go back to reminding me of the time when we had Seitz and Gonzalez, where one would get injured and then the one would claim the starting spot until they got injured, and then the other guy would regain the starting spot. And I'm wondering if we're in for that if Paes doesn't go anywhere. We're going where, hey, Collodi's our starter, and can you keep a guy like Paes in on the bench. I don't know. I don't think so because him being now uh, with the Indonesian national team, you want minutes. So I think it creates a very interesting situation for this team in the offseason. Do you keep both players? Do you sell one? Exciting times. I think Collodi's making a lot of believers out of everybody, and that's we all love Pass. I I'm happy either way, which way the team goes. I'm just saying with this management and their history, I would be concerned that if you're a Pass fan that they will just stick with Collodi as the starter and sell Pass if a deal comes in, or even actively look to sell him. Um,
Yeah,
so
shout out.
that I think Collodi's raising that question for everybody, and I don't know. Is it a good thing to have? I think so. I think you want this is what you want. You want players that push other players to be better.
And shout out to the Collodi family, big supporters of the show. Got some messages this week, and yeah, great performance from him. And and so uh, of course, Maarten Paes was in the radio booth with Steve Davis and company.
Yes.
That was fun. By the way, Third Degree did post a tweet that there's a report that Dallas is in the midst of acquiring a third keeper. He was maybe a free agent. He's a veteran. I don't know if you saw that, Jose, but
I did see it. I did see it.
And
It's the Curacao starting goalkeeper.
right,
36
and it
years
could just
old.
be, which could mean one that Maarten Paes' hamstring is not great, and it's going to be at least a month or two, which almost brings us to the end of the season. And so maybe you just say, hey, let's let Maarten recover and heal. But
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I was talking about. In the past, we've seen a starter get injured and his backup take the starting job, and that's I should have brought that up. That it's looking like Pass is going to be out for the season. Um, we don't know that officially because this team never announces anything. I mean, they haven't announced the Pamecall being out for the season, where he pretty much is. So yes, I think that indicates that might be the issue, and that's what I was saying is Collodi has a chance to state his case, and I think any player just wants that. Any player wants the opportunity to state their case, and Collodi looks like he'll be getting that shot. You get to bring in a veteran behind him, and I think I'm curious about that move because I'm wondering. I don't know the player, and would a player like that be willing to sit behind was essentially a rookie? If you're looking at experience,
right.
how do you look at Collodi and not think of him as a rookie? So it's very interesting. The goalkeeper situation has gotten very interesting very fast.
Right, and I love Collodi's story. I love a homegrown player. I love a guy who went off to college, got his degree, got some experience, came back, and worked his way up, took the opportunities, and is also playing with fire. He's playing, above what maybe folks might have graded him, or what scouts might have looked at him and said how good he is. And this is what you want. This is the kind of player. There's so much that fits. I think this Quill idea that he's wanting to build here were the kinds of players who fight hard, who punch above their weight, who are part of the team. So there's a lot to like about this story. So yeah, but I'm just along for the ride. I think that's where we can be at this point. It's just along for the ride with Michael Collodi, and he's getting his minutes. It's important for him, even if he doesn't stake the job down. He's getting valuable experience that he can build upon and even take a next step as a professional player. And I think that's
I think Collodi is one of these players that has shown that we've seen other players do where they come in and they've stepped up to the challenge each time. He gets signed to a MLS Next Pro contract. We all figure he's going to be backing up Carrera. He takes that team to the title. Now he jumps up to MLS and he's risen to the occasion, and that's what you want from players. That's what you don't know. Someone can look great at the MLS Next Pro level and they can't make that move up, or they can but not as a starter. They struggle, And we've yet to see that from Collodi. I have not seen any letdown from him. He looks like a player who's rising to the occasion, who's raising his level, and at that age, that's a good sign. We've seen before that being, not the tallest goalkeeper in this league is not a deal breaker. At the end of the day, you know, he's got a lot of other things that he does well that will service this team or any team. So I also want to not. I think I've gotten carried away with the goalkeepers, but I wanted to also say, this is the first time uh, where the Kappas signing suddenly starts to look good. Where Kappas looks solid,
Good
he
point.
looked like a veteran presence out there. Uh, very organized, very just. It just seems like there was a huge drop off once he left the field. This guy, he looked like what we thought we were getting. I mean, some of us, I know, I was excited. I know some people were questioning because of the level that he played at and whatnot. But uh, I'm one of those guys that was hopeful that Kappas would come in and provide something to the team, and he's looking the part now. I mean, it takes time. Some players can walk in and make an impact. Kappas looks like he's working as well into the team and starting to get acclimated. And if this is an indication that he's going to get better as the season goes, more comfortable, it's a big win for the team.
Yeah. Last week I was kind of like a question, like what does Quill see? But here we see that Kappas wasn't just a guy who was brought in for squad depth, just a rotational guy, some help, in practice or whatever. But Quill sees him as a guy that really fits and helps this team. And yeah, that's true. When he subbed off, it wasn't, the midfield struggled. They struggled with that lack of that presence. So credit to Kappas. I mean, what a nice story.
They struggled with possession significantly.
Yeah.
And it was noticeable. You were sitting there going, wow, the possession all but disappeared. It was very frustrating in all honesty. But the team held on. And yeah, Kappas, the Kamungo experiment over on at left wing back, it's starting to look better. I think we've all had our doubts, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that still aren't convinced, but it's starting to look more and more like we've finally found a place for Kamungo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, no one envisioned it there. I certainly didn't.
Yeah. No, not at all. Wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So some very interesting stories around this team: Kamungo, Kappas, Collodi, and this is going to be a hell of a ride down the stretch because I'm with Kuv, and I think that this team has a shot with their remaining schedule to make some noise and get themselves in the playoffs.
All right. Well, that's the big question that looms now. Of course, I think as long as they just keep clawing together points, they're putting themselves in that position, especially with so many disappointments earlier in the season or over the summer. Hey, building points, getting points, building momentum. That's what it's all about. And of course, getting guys healthy right now.
Yes.
Well, meanwhile, we'll come back to, well, I guess there's going to be a bye week too. They're getting a little rest now because of some schedule changes. But good news is, that's good news, but we'll see. We'll see them make that game up a little bit later. Let's shift over to not good news, which is North Texas Soccer Club hosted LAFC 2. And this is one we predicted, a win. We predicted a hard-fought battle, sure. And we were not right. We were not right. In fact, 4-0 loss to LAFC 2, a really disappointing result. And even that's taken into account just the mistakes that Mo Cisset made. An early foul in the box when really probably wasn't needed as LAFC 2 was attacking. A formation change that really didn't look good, but as well that didn't help. But Mo Cisset brings down a defender, even away from the ball, which was all the more disappointing. Gets a yellow card, earned PK. LAFC 2 takes care of the PK. And then not too long after, Mo would earn his second yellow for dissent. So he was not happy with the call. We're not sure what's going on, if it was the fenders getting in his face too and the little chirping back and forth. And Mo got his second yellow, red card. With North Texas down to 10 men at that point, it just it really collapsed. And LAFC 2 put in 3 more goals. Certainly a moment or two that North Texas had an opportunity to score. But disappointing when you give guys like Sam Sarver, Nolan Norris, Josh Torcado, Augusto Alvaro, an opportunity to start and get some minutes, and then they end up just having to play in a game in that kind of situation, which is not very confidence building. Disappointing night.
Well, we talked about it, Rob, that if this team was going to get in the playoffs and make a run, it was going to have to get wins against teams that they're expected to defeat, and this is one such team. And the red card and the subsequent play also shows you that, sure, this team's talented, but they're also young, and all it takes is one player on this team making a mistake, and there's no guarantee that they would have won had they not gotten the red. But it didn't help their case, and this team has a favorable schedule. They got to get together. They didn't, they're outside the playoff line, but that's just on tiebreaker right now. Right now, they're basically in a pack. They've hurt their costs. They've fallen back into the pack. There's a pack of about 6 teams that are separated by a point or two, and now they're in that pack. And this game really, a game that if they would have won, they'd be sitting comfortable. But now they've put themselves in a position where they're going to have to claw their way ahead of the pack to make sure that they get in. With a game like this against a team like this, it makes you question: are they going to be able to get it together and close strong? Because this brings questions. It's like, hey, against a team like this, you shouldn't have lost. Yes, you got the red card. It's just a reminder that this team is young and inconsistent.
And I'm disappointed because I'm worried. I guess I'm worried about Sam Sarver because I'm not worried about him personally. I mean, I think he's gonna be fine. But you bring him in against LAFC late, and he brings energy. He's gonna bring it, but then you have so little possession that he's just chasing the game. He's not really involved, and it's like we've got to use this guy. If you're going to bring him in, you got to put him in a situation where he can succeed. And then we give him the start against North Texas, and likewise, he was active and he was pushing and he looked his dangerous self in moments. But again, it's like,
I'm not concerned about that. Sarver's a young player. He's not a player you bring in to win you the game. Musa was brought in for that. Musa's the guy that, if you're talking comparing Sarver and Musa, I was excited when Musa got out there because like, hey, all right, we got to. But again, he's injured, so we don't know what percentage. We can't say he was 100% out there. But of the two, I would have been more concerned with Musa not doing anything as opposed to Sarver. Sarver's he brings a lot, but he's not a guy that you say, oh, here, this guy, this guy's a game changer. Of the two, I would say Musa's the guy. Him and Leggett coming in, I thought they'd make a difference, and no, Kappas goes out, and all of a sudden the midfield cohesion goes out the door, and there's nothing Sarver could have done about that. There's nothing Musa could have done out of that.
I just want to see Sarver with a more cohesive midfield, just to let him do what he can do, which I think is help this team win. But yeah, he's young. He's still training and practicing and working his way into that. But just tough for North Texas, tough for Sarver, tough weekend. But not that I think he's actually probably the highlight of the whole stream was the interview with him at halftime by MLS Next Pro reporter. And just learn a little bit more about his personality and the things he does to help the team even FC Dallas start to build some chemistry and friendship and have some fun together. And I think, wow, what a leader, what a presence that this team needs. All right, so we don't really so the only prediction we can do as we close out this show, since I need to run up the street and pick up my son from practice, is North Texas, because FC Dallas's game got rescheduled with and I was pulling up the schedule. I believe with LA Galaxy potentially playing this weekend, or likely will play this weekend. Will play for the League's Cup in either the third place game or the championship game. So FC Dallas gets a week to mend, to get better. So maybe that's a blessing in disguise for Musa to get right, for other guys Osaze to get right, so that they're ready to go in 2 weeks' time. So we can't go ahead and look. I mean, coming up, they're going to travel to St. Louis to play at St. Louis, and for me, that's a revenge game. I wanted to see, after what St. Louis, got the win in Frisco, if I'm remembering correctly. I've slept since then. A disappointing one, and one we thought was going to help FC Dallas turn things around. I think this is one that FC Dallas needs to go in and get some points on the road. Hopefully all 3 points. So that's one for us to pencil in, and we'll maybe revisit. But North Texas will travel actually out here to the West Coast and play Los Angeles Galaxy's next pro team called Ventura County. At Ventura County. I don't think I'm...
Yeah, I said this was a big game for them. Ventura County is a team that's ahead of them in the standings. And I would say it's a must-win, in all honesty, where before I thought it was I thought they were going to take care of business this past weekend, and they didn't. So they've shot themselves in the foot. And now this game, I believe it's a must-win, especially when you're in a pack like that and everybody's separated by a point or 2 points. You don't want to be the team that's that's chasing everybody, being three points behind the whole pack. So this becomes a must-win for them on the road. They put themselves in the situation. They need to come out of there with points, and I don't mean a draw. If it goes to a draw, then they got to come out of there with 2 points. They need this against a very tough opponent. It's a tough ask after following the performance from this past week, and they got to figure it out. Also, I want to say that the Galaxy game being rescheduled, I want to say that is, in my opinion, a lucky break for FC Dallas, because the Galaxy are riding high from their League's Cup. Some teams use tournaments like that to jumpstart themselves, and the Galaxy are, honestly, they're flying high right now because of that. I don't think they're a really good team at all, but there's something for momentum and having the team feeling good. And so even though their record does indicate it, you're not going to run into a team that's dropped their shoulders and is giving up on the season. You're riding a team that's riding a high from their League Cup performance, and saw it against the Rapids. I watched that game against the Rapids, and I did not recognize that Galaxy game. I was actually watching that game, and my brother-in-law's a Rapids fan, and I was like, "What's going on, man? How are you guys getting beat by these guys?" But they controlled that game, and it was very impressive. Just a team that is just on a high based on their League Cup run. They're playing with a ton of confidence, and I think it's a break for FC Dallas not to play them.
All right.
Sorry, I got carried away.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, it is good. So, it's going to be an interesting weekend for North Texas. We're going to see what they have in them, if they're going to figure things out. And what first team players are going to come down and travel with the team and get some minutes.
Well, I mean, you have to think with the cancellation of the Galaxy game, you got to wonder if FCD is going to send down quite a few players, in all honesty, especially being a must-win game. I'm curious to see if they're going to say, okay, well, let's send Farrington down. Let's send down, you could send down quite a few players, in all honesty. Yeah. At least the ones that are healthy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, well, we're gonna leave the show there. Appreciate you, Collin, jumping on. I know it's you're busy there, selling those stations and all that good stuff. And Jose, it's always good to talk with you. But we'll leave it there for now. Of course, we'll post the audio a little bit later tomorrow, and other content hopefully this week. Oh yeah, Jose's celebrating the new Fallout season on the way.
That's right.
Epic trailer release for that. But appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody who's watching and listening in. We will see you next time. Until then, remember afterburn.soccer, and we'll chat with you there. All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, guys. All right.
But
Good night. Yeah.